Welcome to the Success Vitamin Talk. With me, Pritha Dubey. I help grow sales revenue through the science of selling. And you are tuned into Season 3.
So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Success Vitamin Talk Season 3. And in fact, today is a very, very special day because we have an extremely special guest with us. And I have kind of shifted from my normal format of asking questions as and when it comes to me. In fact, for her, I have written down the questions which I do not want to miss out to ask her because. She is such an inspiration. She is such an influencer that squeezing her time or squeezing her life story or squeezing all her wisdom in just 30 minutes is absolutely unfair. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you Neeraja Ganesh. And before we move on and I start asking her questions, may I please request Neeraja if you can just give a short introduction of yourself for the entire audience.
Sure. Thank you so much, Pritha. It's an honor for me to be on your show, which is so hugely popular. And thank you, for inviting me to this. Quickly, in terms of who I am, so Neeraja Ganesh, let me go with my personal introduction first. So I am, of course, a wife and a mother to a 19-year-old daughter. And I live with my mother and my mother-in-law in Bangalore. So that's my personal introduction. Professionally, I had 25 years of an IT career. I used to manage IT delivery for banking clients, and I quit from the corporate world in 2017 with an intention to kind of look at creating an impact on various segments of our society. So the first thing that I did was worked at a not-for-profit foundation called as Jobs for Her Foundation, which was established to bridge the gender gaps in India by looking at a transformational mindset shift in the women as well as in the entire ecosystem of our country. After doing that for 18 months, I decided that I must catch people young. All right. And so I quit from there. And of course, I did a 1 year stint at a college here in Bangalore. But beyond that, I've been doing a lot of consulting, coaching work and training work by associating myself with a few prestigious training organizations, Inroads Leadership Development and Quinergy Leadership Academy, to name a couple of them, but also freelance and do a lot of sessions, a lot of talks, workshops, largely targeted towards women and the younger, audiences. But doesn't mean that I don't talk to the men. So I'm happy to talk to men too. And I do a lot of pro bono work, one with an organization called as Aspire for Her, which is in the space of girls in the age group of 18 to 25, to look at creating mindsets of intentional careers for these girls and financial independence being a key throughout their lives. And another organization called as HopeWorks Foundation, which works with underprivileged girls from 8th to 12th standard. They come from really broken families, but to tell them that they also can be hopeful of a different future for themselves than what they see in their homes. So yeah, a longish introduction, but that's me, Neeraja
I
Ganesh.
think I think this is very much required. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. In fact, you'd be happy to know that I am still associated with Jobs for Her in a very limited space. They keep calling me sometimes for some speakership work or sometimes to conduct a session for the women who are coming back to their career. I think it's a fantastic job that they are doing. Um, Neither you definitely come across as someone who's been living her life in her on her own terms. So have you always been like this? Because we otherwise get so pulled down into the different expectations of the society and the family. And how did you kind of form yourself like
Sure,
this?
sure. Yes. So I am an only child. So let me start from there, right? I'm an only child, come from an extremely conservative Tamil Brahmin family in south of India. So with that, I was extremely introverted, very quiet, very shy, timid, and I kind of did whatever was asked of me to be done. So my parents kind of, sent me the school that they preferred, and I kind of kept to myself. And the first time that I think most of us take decisions, at least in that era, was when you change from your 10th, you kind of choose the college and you choose the courses that you wish to study. And of course, I followed what everybody else did, science, because that's the way to go, right? You have to be a science student and then you go and write those entrance exams. Uh,
Yeah.
Mostly you will write both medicine and
Both, yeah.
engineering because you're not very sure where you get in. So I said, let me do that. And I went and chose science. Of course, I got into a very good college. Um, but I realized those 2 years of my life were the worst, I must say, because the only thing in science, so you had physics, chemistry, maths, and biology.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could do was maths. I couldn't do physics, I couldn't do chemistry, I couldn't do biology. And then the rest of the world was all the students used to kind of not look at TV. They used to cram, in the morning, in the night, through, go to tuitions and all of that. And my parents didn't send me to tuitions. They said, "You are going to a good college. You study by yourself after you come back from college." So that much additional pressure to try and kind of fit in, get the kind of marks that are required to get into those engineering colleges. But I had really miserable 2 years and I never got the marks because that is not what I was good at. And I was trying to just follow the crowd. So maths was okay. My marks in maths were okay, but physics, chemistry, biology, even after sleepless nights, giving away TV, those were the only prized possessions that we had in those days. Not too many
Yeah.
interventions that we could, look
True,
at.
true, true, true.
Marks were pathetic in my
Huh.
12th. I passed. That's it. And then, of course, I wrote the entrance exam because everybody else was writing for engineering. But my father had told me that he will not send me anywhere outside of Bangalore, right? Very conservative family. So he said, if you get a seat in Bangalore, then you go. But I didn't get a seat in Bangalore. I got it in some remote place in Karnataka. But everyone told me, go and apply for a transfer because, people will then, leave the colleges because they get into IITs and things like that. There will be a seat available in Bangalore. But then I decided that I'm not going to fight my father. And I went and chose a course which was BSc, Bachelor of Science. But this time I said, I'm going to find subjects which are of my interest. So maths and anything related to maths. So I had to really hunt for a combination. And I found one in a college in Bangalore. It was maths, statistics, economics. And I'm talking about 1988, right? So it was not one of those really, well-known combinations. Today, this is, I think, the happening, kind of
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
courses.
hmm.
And my mother said, why do you go to that college? You have one next door. Go for your usual physics, chemistry, maths. So no more physics. So it was a very hatke kind of a decision. We were only 30 students in that class.
Okay.
And But it was one of the most, I think, the best decisions of my life. And then, of course, after that, there was MSc that people were doing. And I said no, because I was in a rush to get into a job because I knew my parents would get me married and I wanted to start earning before that happened because I didn't know where that marriage would take me, right? Whether I could work after or not. So I said I will do a course from NIIT, which was again 2 hours per day for 3 days a week. And everyone said, why don't you do a master's? This is like 6 hours a week you can manage. I said, no, I want to give my full focus on this course.
Hmm.
And then there was another thing which I did very differently. You had 4 semesters, 6 months of each. First semester, you get the basics of the computers in this programming. From second semester, you can actually do semesters in parallel because it's 2 hours per day. So you can do a second and third semester parallel because it's different kinds of programming languages being taught. So I did second and third semester in parallel. And again, everyone said you will fail in both. I said no, because I'm in a mad rush to finish this early. And I did things very beautifully. So, kind of to say that that was the moment when I decided now onwards, it is what I like, my interests, my passions, what I strongly believe in, including, the choice of my partner. I was at that era, everyone was going towards the US. So they would get married, go to the US because that's the happening place, especially in the IT world, right? Because it was pre-Y2K, you had so much of IT jobs in the US and the dollars that you could earn and then send it back to India. But I said no because I'm an only child. I need to be around where my parents are.
Hmm,
And I
hmm.
put my foot down and I said, I will marry someone who's in India and will continue to live in India.
Mm.
My parents struggled to find this guy for me. It took them 4 years. But I
Mm.
know that my life has been, as beautiful because of some of those choices, which were so very different to what the rest of the crowd were doing.
Hope you are enjoying the talk so far. You will also want to listen to Peter Brown in our episode 2, where he shares how he found himself a great job just through LinkedIn. And now, let's get back to the talk.
Many women, now let me talk because you work on the girl and women side. And even though we are in this century right now and we're talking about a lot of millennials, but I still feel that I'm sure you would have also come across that there are many girls and many women who may still not be able to find that courage to put their foot down and demand certain things which may not be too audacious. It may not be too much per se if you look at it from a very bigger perspective, but they are still not able to do that. Do you think it's a mindset issue? Is it that someone has to go through some massive defining moment to transform their mindset and reach that place where then finally they'll say that enough is enough, now I'm going to stand? Is that a defining moment necessary, or uh, there is a way that these girls and women or people in general, let's say, that they can develop that mindset right from their childhood?
So I think a lot has to come from the family because that's how the children grow up. And I would really encourage the parents to kind of allow the child to express and allow the child to explore, experiment. Um, and you never know, how far they go. Because success is not defined by, only money and what is the designation that you hold.
Mm-hmm.
It is defined by a very holistic life. And I really believe in that. Career and money is just one aspect. And there are many other elements to a holistic life. And hence, I would really encourage the parents to
Mm-hmm.
let the child express what she or he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of give an example, I will now give an example of my daughter. So now let's come to this era, right? I spoke about my era and this era. So my daughter is 19 now, but and she's been a very good student in school, getting the good marks and all of that. But I realized that the minute she came to her seventh standard, her marks were dwindling. And any amount of conversation, I wasn't able to get to what was happening. So we kind of related it to, okay, the hormonal changes, teenage, peer pressure, who knows what.
Yeah.
But I, like a typical mother, used to give her gyan that, okay, maybe you have to study it differently. Maybe you have to do this differently. Seventh, eighth, no change. In fact, just kept coming down. Now, not that I'm a mother who wants her to get the best of marks, but my worry was why? I'm not able to find out why is it that there is a change. And then finally, I sat down with her and said, let's talk about what is it that you like to do so that we can eventually, pick up subjects and, career in that direction. And I realized that she was struggling with the theory subjects. And so I said, what do you like? Which subject do you like? And she
Mm.
also said that it is English and it is math. And hence, to cut a long story short, she said, okay, if that is the case, I don't think I want to be in this ICSE syllabus that she was in, because that is what was very hard on her. She said, let me move to, the Karnataka State Board, where I will learn all the subjects, but let me focus on what I want to, which is English and writing and my math. And of course, it was a very, a decision where informed decision. She spoke to her teachers. She spoke to some of her seniors who had made that switch from a ICSE to a state board. You should have seen the parents who came to me and said, I think you should send her to a counselor. No child, shifts from an ICSE to a local state board and all of that. And I said, I'm fine. She knows why she's doing it. And she's chosen that path. Today, she's doing her first year BSc in Christ College in Bangalore in math, statistics, computer science. She's doing extremely well. So I would say there is never an age, but for most of us who've kind of passed this age and we're already on the path of running the rat race and doing what the rest of the world is doing, take a step
Mm.
back, a pause to
Mm.
really reflect on what is it that you wish to do for yourself.
Hmm.
and believe in yourself, and slowly make the transition towards that path. It is going to be extremely fulfilling and rewarding, is what I would say.
I think that's such a fantastic advice, and I think all young professionals out there, you must take note of this advice that don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush. I understand that you guys all want things to happen as of yesterday, um, but it is always good to take a pause to because it's your life end of the day. So obviously you will be responsible for whatever good or bad is happening to your life, but why take a chance to regret later when you can really take a pause and plan it well, with some informed decisions you can take. If not, if maybe I agree, you cannot probably see 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line. Nobody can plan that far and with guarantee that nothing is going to go wrong. But these shorter milestones that you look for yourself, I think there you can really take a pause and you can learn from other people's mistakes and other people's successes and decide for yourself that what is it that I want to do, rather than just saying that I'll cross the bridge when it comes. I think it's a great advice, Nija. Thank you for sharing this to these young professionals. You said that you work with a lot of young women and girls. So share some interesting stories of their transformation, how they, what kind of, I'm sure that a lot of girls and women who are listening to you right now, I think would like to get a little inspired from the others' transformation stories. So could you just share one or two stories with us?
Surely. So let me start with a woman on a career break, because that's where I started, right, with the Jobs for Her
Yeah.
journey. So I am a mentor on that portal, like you are, Prita, and being on that portal, there are a lot of opportunities to kind of speak to these women. So there was this one lady who, after a lot of hurdles, managed to get a job. And Thursday, she went for an interview. She got the job. She was to report to the job on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she had a child, 4 or 5 year old child. So
Mm-hmm.
on Friday, she asked her husband to look after the child,
Hmm.
saying that over the weekend, I'll find a daycare. And she found a daycare on the weekend and went to work the following week. The week after that, she called me on the Monday and she said, my child is refusing to go to the daycare.
Hmm.
And I don't know what to do. So, should I send my child crying to the daycare and go? Or should I quit my job, into which I'm like a week old?
Hmm.
And all I told her was, why don't you call your manager and just say that because you asked me to join immediately, I have not been able to settle my child in the daycare. So for 1 week, can you give me some flexibility where I go with the child to the daycare every morning to see what is it that she's not very happy about and settle her in. And I will start work, from afternoon and finish it by night.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
She said, how can I even ask for such things in a week's time? Right? It is unimaginable. I'm talking pre-COVID, right? So, of course, for us, because of 2020, we may find this a little alien. And I said, what's the worst? The worst is she will refuse. And then you can think about, do I want to leave the child crying or do I want to quit the job that I've just recently got after this long career break? But just
Exactly.
ask. And then she called the manager, and then she called me back in 15 minutes and she said, Neerja, my manager said, just bring the child to the office tomorrow.
Hmm.
And she took the child to the office. Everybody, kind of helped the child being comfortable, played with her. And towards the end of the day, they told the child why it is important for the mother to come to work. And hence, why should the child, kind of be at the daycare.
Hmm.
And the child went back very happily to the daycare for the following day. So I'm
Fantastic.
saying, just a small thing. It wouldn't have taken me more than 3 minutes to tell her, just call the manager.
Hmm.
So I think it is important for all of us to share our experiences whenever there is an opportunity. And
Hmm.
today, things like this, Prita, that you are doing through this podcast and the video interviews, or even writing on social media channels,
Hmm.
can be hugely powerful. So I am, as I told you, on Aspire for Her, a mentor. And I write on Aspire for Her. I do a monthly column because I realize that people say When I speak, it's from experiences. It's not
Mm,
gyan, right? I'm saying this is what I have gone through, and there are a lot of takeaways for them. So I thought, let me reach larger audiences, and I've started writing. So I do a monthly, column called Neer Spires on this
mm, mm,
platform.
mm, mm.
And yeah, one of the things that I've written is about believing in yourself and doing what you believe in. But I also do some engagement activities. So I say, girls, if you've read the book article, it's not that you will get everything out of it. You may have some questions. So I am available. So whoever wants to ask me a question, they will be there on LinkedIn or Twitter or something. And then
Absolutely.
based on those questions, I pick up a couple of them to give them more mentoring based on those questions where I feel this girl really needs some more handholding.
Mm,
So I've written this article which is storytelling for creating a personal brand. It is so very important, especially for the women. They
mm.
can never talk about themselves,
Right.
but there is no way anyone is going to come to know about you unless you speak. So the myth or the worry is that if I brag about myself, then I'll be considered a show off. So how can I even speak about my accomplishments? And my article was around using storytelling. So you find an occasion or you find an opportunity to relate a particular incident from your life to what is being discussed. And through that storytelling mode, you will be able to actually leave an impact on the audience.
Mm.
And they will also know your achievements. So this girl came to me and she said, it's so difficult. So, of course, I gave her the same mentorship. And she wrote back to me last week saying that, ma'am, I have to tell you. So she's a student who's just joined her first year MBBS, wanting to be a doctor. And she said, I spoke to my lecturer and I kind of packaged my story in such a way that my lecturer was so happy she has awarded me a research project. There are many, many, many stories. And these are stories of you, me, and everyone around us,
Yeah.
common people, right? And
Yeah.
struggles are very common.
Common.
And,
Yeah.
hence, two things I would like to say. One is each of us can make an impact. Please see how you can create that impact in your surroundings. And two, yes, I am happy. I'm available on a variety of platforms. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to kind of do whatever is required.
That's so kind of you, Nija. And I think people, you should, and Nija openly has kind of welcomed you to reach out, allowing you to reach out to her. You must not miss that opportunity. And you should find Nija. Nija, I also hear that you're writing a book. What is this book all about? And what are you writing on?
So the idea to write the book, of course, stemmed from the fact that I've been writing Newspires, the column that I told you for Aspire for Her, a monthly column that I do. And again, because of the success that I have seen, it's been so transformational. And while I write it with the intention of the audience being the girls in the age group of 18 to 25, I've realized that, women of all age groups are reading this, men read it, and, it's kind of very powerful and impactful. So I decided that I should make a book out of it. And I have some timelines and targets. So it's good to kind of announce it on public because of the pressure of making it happen, right? So I'm really hoping that, I can release it by the mid of this year. And I really
Fantastic.
hope that everyone, kind of reads that.
I'm sure everybody will definitely be buying because those are like those pearls of wisdom that you're pouring in into that book, and I'm 100% sure that it's going to be a bestseller. My
You.
best wishes are with you and the book. Um, Thank you so much for being a guest here and for sharing your story so candidly.
Thank you for the opportunity. And in finishing up, I'll just say I mentioned two portals. One is Jobs for Her, which is for it started as a platform for women on a career break, but of course it's gone beyond that today. So you can look up those resources and communities. There are lots of them.
Mm.
Aspire for Her, which is for the younger girls, which also again started with girls in the age group of 18 to 25, but today it is growing beyond that. And beyond that, Prita and I are available.
This is many years of experience that Nita just shared with all of you. And throughout these experiences, something that she said and repeatedly tried to probably emphasize is that believe in yourself. And especially to the young girls and women, nothing can happen without you believing in yourself. And I believe in one aspect that no matter what the world is saying, no matter how the world is going, no matter who supports you, who doesn't support you, I very strongly believe that you are enough for your own success. So thank you so much, Neja, for your time. This has been a real pleasure to speak with you. See you all in the next episode. Till then, take care and God bless you.